you? What do you do?
Okay, so I am a brand strategist from Detroit, Michigan. So I currently create content for my blog on Journey Through Jada, and I also help small Black business owners create their brand identity and messaging.
That's fire. That's fire. So how long you been doing that for?
So I started my Instagram like a year ago in August, but as far as like helping people, maybe like 2 years.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
like, did you study like advertising or something? Like, how do you know how to do this? Is this like some random skill or?
Yeah, so I guess I would say like growing up, I've kind of just always been into like computer technology and like graphic communications. But then when I got to MSU, that's kind of where I studied advertising. Then I went to grad school for advertising and public relations. So yeah, that's kind of where all of
You
that.
went to grad school already? Like, that's fire.
Yeah,
That's fire.
yeah.
So I guess as now, so as a woman, what is your experience in the creative realm? Like, have you worked with any other creatives before?
Yeah, I have worked with creatives, and that has been pretty cool. I guess the most kind of like weird experiences have been kind of just trying to get into the field.
Hmm.
Really, I feel like I've experienced a lot of like lowballing, just like barriers to entry, just a lot of like hoops and stuff to jump through, just to kind of get recognized or just be or feel included.
Yeah, yeah. I was going to ask if you ever experienced like any kind of misogyny or sexism, because like this issue of the magazine, well, this portion of this issue is dedicated towards women and sort of their experience in the world and in like Detroit's creative realm. So have you ever experienced like any kind of misogyny or sexism or anything like that?
Definitely not personally. However, a lot of like what I notice or like what I try to do is to make sure that nobody else does. Just because a lot of people, especially like in the LGBTQ community, like they are heavily like ostracized or just not completely included, or like things that could be differently or differently like worded differently, or you know I recognize those things, and that's kind of where I try to step in and just be like, like maybe I should look at this way, or like maybe we shouldn't be saying things like this.
Hmm.
So
Okay. So how do you think the world can be like? I shouldn't say the world, the creative realm, whether it be Detroit, Lansing, wherever you're at. How do you think it can be more inclusive for women, LGBTQ people? How do you think that can be
yeah,
changed?
definitely. I think that there just needs to be more spaces for us to connect. Like I know in Lansing we just got our first like Black owned recording studio, which that's kind of just like a smaller effort on behalf of like two of my friends. But we need more spaces like that where we can just go and connect and just be like, we don't have to see other people, or you just want to go, you just want to have a place where you can just be your creative self, and nobody's like limiting you or telling you like you can't be there, or you shouldn't be there, things like that.
Mm. Okay. Cool. So, what steps do you think women can take, women and members of the LGBTQ community can take to ensure that they are heard and that they're seen? I know, like, obviously, they shouldn't have to do this. This is not something that, like, should be required of them because, there should be, like, equity among all categories. But, like, what do you think can be done from a perspective of someone who is in the position being possibly discriminated against or seen as differently?
Yeah, so I feel like if you identify as a woman, or if you have a business or a brand, a hobby, idea, anything, the best thing you can really do is to stay persistent and stay in people's faces, let them know that you're not really going anywhere, and also to tell your story, because storytelling is the key, like behind brand messaging and recognition. So working with someone or kind of reading up on how you can best to tell your story, or use those storytelling techniques to help your story appeal to more audiences and resonate with others, that's really helpful. If you feel that you have been discriminated, definitely, if you feel comfortable, you definitely want to like speak out. Like I know sometimes we kind of just resort to ourselves, or we feel like, oh, I'm gonna miss this opportunity, or everybody's gonna, look at me like I'm just a op, or like people are gonna just be like, oh, she's doing too much, or oh, it's not that deep. But no, like I feel like I've been in situations where stuff just really didn't sit right with me, and you just
Hmm.
have to, if you don't speak up for yourself, nobody's going to speak up for you. So if you whether you know go all out with it, and you know, I've seen people like blast people on social media. I mean, that's not all the way necessary, but if you reach out, you know, via email, DM, whatever, and you just say, I'm not really rocking with this. Or if you know, reach out to somebody that you trust and kind of tell them the situation and talk through it with someone when you feel like you have been kind of discriminated against, that is definitely helpful as well.
All right, these are great answers. I actually have one more, like impromptu question. Can you like go through your whole women's infographic on your page? I thought it was really cool, and I think other people should like know about it.
Yeah, do you want me to like pull it up or
I mean, if you want to, I mean, you don't have to. You can just like talk through it if you want to.
okay, yeah, let me pull it up just so I can I was looking at it before I was on here. But yeah, that basically just came from I'm trying to get into the realm where like people repost my pictures and like they're like, oh, like this is some fact I've never heard of before.
Mm.
Um, and I just like let me go back to it because it really helped me. Knowing these facts really helped me with my job search, just because I'm like, okay, I'm getting hit up by diversity recruiters, or like people are saying they want to work with me, and it's Women's History Month. People are like, oh, we want to celebrate all these holidays, we want to do X, Y, and Z, but the numbers, like, they aren't really reflecting that. Like, we just got our first Black woman CEO. Like, there's still a gender pay gap, and then there's a Black women's gender pay gap. So just thinking about like that, I think that I really recognize college just to be a privilege, just in general, just to be college educated. We kind of see things differently because we study like biases and microaggressions and things like that. And so when for people that haven't, went to college, it sometimes is kind of a barrier for them. Like they can, often settle for less, or they can, they're not really seeing the bigger picture of what's going on. Like, say, somebody's offering you a position or something like that, and you're not really getting paid much. And if you haven't really went to college and you don't really know, or just if you've never been exposed to the numbers, really, you don't really know that that isn't as much of an opportunity as it is. It's you just kind of being used for your labor. So that's kind of really why I like wanted to create something that will show people what it really is like to be a Black woman, or just a woman, period, for Women's History Month, when everybody's kind of just like throwing the word around, but nobody's really talking about how exclusive like the world really is to women, especially Black women.
Yes, I actually really liked your infographic. I'm big on women's issues. Obviously, that's why I'm doing this whole like issue, this portion of the issue, because I've definitely noticed some sort of inequities in the world. Obviously, like I know the world is like very skewed for women, especially Black women, and I think it's important for like people in all like demographics and like backgrounds and professions to really acknowledge that, because it's aware. It's literally, no, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say it's aware. It's prevalent in each like section, and it's kind of like people don't talk about it, and people don't acknowledge nothing. Like especially like with Black women are like the most marginalized group like on the planet. Like considering like double minority, from a sense of like if we were to eliminate racism, we would still be on the bottom. If we were to eliminate sexism, we still be on the bottom. So it's kind of like the story of the Black woman is like really important to like me, and like trying to get that to be known, because there's a lot of problems that like women, especially Black women, face that aren't really being discussed. Like in the city, especially, like I can't stand like slander of women. Like I don't like it. I think it's a problem, especially like on things that like women can't control. Like they're women. They were born women, so you can't really control some of those things. And it's just like I don't really like it. That's why we're doing this, obviously. So yeah, that was actually my last question. So
Yeah, no,
thank you so much.
you're welcome. No, I was just gonna say, definitely to keep doing what you're doing. Like, sometimes it just feels like we have these conversations all the time, and it's just like nothing really comes of it. But it does come of it, because you have to just stay relevant and things like that.